Jedediah Lafferty.
King George VI, Declaration of War against Germany, 1939. King George VI, the British monarch, made a live radio broadcast to the country Commonwealth, declaring an outbreak of war against Germany. The King's speech was made on the 3rd of September, 1939. The King's speech. In this grave hour, perhaps the most fateful in our history, I send to every household of my people, both at home and overseas, this message spoken with the same depth of feeling as if I were able to cross your threshold and speak to you myself. For the second time in most of our lives, we are at war. Over and over again, we have tried to find peaceful ways out of differences between those who are our enemies, but it has been in vain. We have been forced into conflict. We are called with our allies to meet the challenge. If we're to prevail, we'll be faithful to any civilized order in the world. It is the principle in which permits this state, in its self-pursuit of power, to disagree at solemn pledges, or sanction the use of force, or force a threat against the sovereignty and independence of other states. Such a principle, stripped of all its disguise, is surely the mere doctrine that might is right. To establish throughout the world, the whole British Commonwealth nation would be in danger. But far more than this, the people of the world would be kept in a bondage of fear, and all hopes of settled peace, security, and justice, and liberty amongst nations would be ended. It is to this high purpose that I call my people at home and overseas to stay calm, firm, and unite as a tribe. There may be dark days ahead, and the war can no longer be confined on the battlefield, but we can only see what is right and what is fit in the eyes of God. King George VI, 3rd of September. King George VI, Declaration of War against Germany, 1939.
Savannah Lafferty.
B, If I Should Have a Daughter, by Sarah Kay. Instead of Mom, she's going to call me Point B, because that way she knows that no matter what happens, at least she can always find her way to me. And I'm going to paint the solar system on the backs of her hands so that she has to learn the entire universe before she can say, oh, I know that with the back of my hand. She's going to learn that this life will hit you hard in the face, wait for you to get back up so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air. There is a hurt here that cannot be fixed by band-aids or poetry, so the first time she realizes Wonder Woman isn't coming, I'll make sure she knows she doesn't have to wear the cape all by herself. Because no matter how wide you stretch your fingers, your hands will always be too small to catch all the pain you want to heal. Believe me, I've tried. And baby, I'll tell her, don't keep your nose up in the air like that. I know that trick. You're just smelling for smoke so you can follow the trail back to the burning house to find the boy who lost everything in the fire to see if you can save him. Or else the boy who lit the fire in the first place to see if you can change him. But I know she will anyway. So instead I'll keep an extra supply of chocolate and rain boots nearby, because there is no heartbreak that chocolate can't fix. Okay, there are a few heartbreaks that chocolate can't fix, but that's what the rain boots are for, because rain will wash away everything if you let it. I want her to see the world through the underside of a glass-bottom boat, to look through a magnifying glass at the galaxies that exist on the pinpoint of the human mind. Because that's how my mom taught me. That there'll be days like this, my mama said, when you reach out to catch and wind up only with blisters and bruises. When you step out of the phone booth to fly, and the very people you want to save are the ones that are standing on your cape. When you're up to your knees in disappointments and your boots full with rain, and those are the very days you have all the more reason to say thank you, because there is nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop kissing the shoreline, no matter how many times it is sent away. You will put the wind and win some, lose some. You will put the star and starting over. And no matter how many landmines erupt in a minute, don't ever forget to let your mind land on the beauty of this funny place called life. And yes, on a scale from 1 to over-trusting, I am pretty naive. But I want her to know that this world is made of sugar. It can crumble so easily, but don't be afraid to stick out your tongue to taste it. And baby, I'll tell her, your mama is a warrior, but your papa is a warrior. And you are the girl with small hands and big eyes who never stops asking for more. Remember that good things come in threes, and so do bad things. And always apologize for when you're wrong. But don't you ever apologize for the way your eyes refuse to stop shining. Your voice is small, but do not stop singing. And when they finally hand you heartbreak, slip hatred and war under your doorstep, and hand you handouts on the street corners of cynicism and defeat, you tell them they really ought to meet your mother. B, If I Should Have a Daughter, by Sarah Kay.